Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so glad you're here today because we're going on a deeply empathetic, highly focused journey straight into the human mind. Let's just dive right in. We're going to explore mental disorders, but we're throwing out all that complicated medical jargon. Instead, we'll look at this through the lens of everyday life, to truly understand what it's actually like on the inside.
Imagine just for a second, waking up and your brain is actively resisting positive emotion. Like, what if your brain literally refused happiness? It wouldn't matter what good things happen in your day, right? A promotion at work, a really great cup of coffee, a call from your best friend. There's a literal, biological barrier stopping you from actually feeling the joy of it. Or, think about this. What if your mind never stopped worrying? Just imagine the utterly exhausting reality of being trapped in this permanent state of anticipation. It's kind of like a fire alarm ringing constantly in the background of your daily routine. And no matter how hard you look, you just cannot find the off switch.
And to take that tension even one step further, what if you couldn't escape thoughts that you absolutely knew weren't true? It's a terrifying concept, really, being held hostage by your own inescapable internal dialogue. You have all the logic in the world, you know it doesn't make sense, yet your brain just keeps playing the exact same loop over and over.
Section 1. Redefining mental illness.
So there's this massive gap between public perception and medical reality. Far too often, mental disorders are unfairly labeled as, personality flaws or signs of weakness. But here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. They are not weaknesses. Actually, scratch that. They aren't even just struggles. They are medical conditions. They're physical shifts that fundamentally alter how the brain processes emotion, memory, fear, and motivation. They simply aren't choices.
Section 2. The weight of emotion. Let's start with depression. Picture waking up after sleeping for 10 solid hours, yet you feel like you haven't slept at all. You're just staring at the ceiling for 20 minutes because even the basic physical act of getting out of bed feels completely impossible. When you finally do get up, your favorite food has absolutely zero taste. The music you usually blast in the car, it sounds completely empty. Your friends invite you out, but merely replying to their text feels like running a marathon. Depression is this condition that quietly but heavily changes how your brain processes pleasure, motivation, and hope.
And that brings us to a really vital medical distinction that honestly so many people miss. People constantly confuse depression with just being sad. But sadness usually has a reason, right? It's a reaction to a bad day or some tragic event. Depression, though, it often has no logical trigger whatsoever. It just strips the color straight out of your world. The things that used to make you smile slowly lose their vibrancy for literally no apparent reason.
And that leads us to an incredibly harsh reality that's almost always invisible from the outside. The hardest part isn't crying. It's feeling nothing. Just take a second and think about the sheer, hollow weight of that sentence. A depressive episode isn't always about being in tears. Often, it's the absolute, terrifying absence of any feeling at all. Building right on that theme of emotional processing, we have bipolar disorder. This is a condition that shifts how the brain processes intense emotional peaks and valleys. Imagine your everyday motivation and energy levels being totally hijacked by extreme shifts. In one period, your brain is racing with uncontrollable, soaring energy. And then the next, it plunges right back into that heavy, unmoving emptiness we just talked about.
Section 3. The cycle of fear. Now, think about this feeling. I have a mind that never stops worrying. This perfectly captures conditions like generalized anxiety disorder and panic disorder. We are not just talking about feeling a few butterflies before a big presentation. Remember that alarm bell we mentioned earlier, the one ringing nonstop? That's what this is. Your brain is processing everyday mundane life as an immediate life or death threat. And the physical exhaustion that constant state of panic causes to the human body is absolutely staggering. Similarly, ADHD and social anxiety are so deeply misunderstood. These are conditions that alter how the brain filters focus, processes fear, and navigates social interactions. We're not talking about mere distractions here. It's not just shyness or some lack of self-discipline. It is a relentless, biological rewiring of how the brain manages everyday fears and decides what information to even pay attention to. Your brain's entire filtering system is fundamentally altered.
Section 4. The relentless mind.
I know these thoughts aren't true, yet I can't escape them. Just put yourself inside that exhausting reality for a second. This incredibly powerful internal thought points directly to the suffocating cycles of OCD.
You have total logical awareness that the thought is completely irrational. You know it isn't real, but your brain forces you into an endless behavioral loop anyway. You are quite literally trapped by your own neuropathways.
Then we have PTSD. This is a condition that completely changes how the brain processes past memories and present fear. PTSD effectively hijacks the mind. It literally forces the brain to process a traumatic memory from the past not as a memory, but as an immediate present tense danger happening right now, in this exact moment. The threat feels every bit as real today as it did when it first occurred.
Section 5. Shifts in reality.
So when we look at highly complex conditions, things like eating disorders, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, and dissociative identity disorder, they go way beyond just feelings of sadness or anxiety. They represent a fundamental shift in how the brain processes reality itself. It changes how a person perceives their own physical body, how they interpret their relationships, or even the very structure of their own identity. The brain is interpreting the physical and social world in a completely altered state.
Section 6. Beyond the diagnosis. So the absolutely crucial point we need to walk away with is this. It's not a flaw. It's not a weakness. It is a medical shift in reality. If we can truly grasp what these disorders actually feel like from the inside out, the truth just becomes undeniable. These are profound, systemic changes in how the brain processes life. They aren't personal choices, they aren't character defects, they are very real medical realities. Which leaves us with a final and honestly very important challenge. How will you change the way you interact with the people in your life? Now that you've seen these silent, internal battles so many people are fighting every single day, battles you cannot see from the outside, how are you going to apply this newfound empathy? Take this understanding, look past the surface, and let it change how you see the people around you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this sparked your curiosity to learn even more.